good example, I think, was when we did the Return to the Washoe episode with the Ghost Adventure crew. I don't know if you saw that episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we were in our hotel room, and we were like, hey guys, we really need this to go really well. If there's anybody here with us that can come with us to the Washoe to facilitate the people, the spirits at the Washoe, in helping them communicate with us, then we would appreciate that, because it's important to us that this filming goes good. So at that point, I do believe, because I do believe that whatever was there that was comfortable with us went with us there and kind of grabbed the spirits at the Washoe that wanted to talk and said, hey, here's how you can communicate clearer. Go for it.
For those who know about or are into the UFOs, the Roswell, New Mexico crash in 1947, purportedly some of the debris, we know this actually. We know that the debris was taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. And the Project Blue Book was headquartered there, which, was the Air Force's study of UFOs. And a lot of things were going on. So allegedly there were certain teams when objects would crash and they didn't know what they were. They weren't ours. These teams would come out from Wright-Patterson and other locations onto the scene, collect the debris, take it back to that Air Force base. Well, my grandfather worked as a civil engineer for the Air Force since about 1950 to about 1980. And he did TDYs, temporary assignments, to Wright-Patterson. So what my dad and I are kind of piecing together right now is what Grandpa knew, because Grandpa would be called up at random times, and he was told, you need to get on a plane and come out here to Wright-Patterson. Now, it was all that my dad really knew is that he sat the kids down and said, look, I'm part of a special team that could be called on at any time to leave in case of emergency. And my dad was thinking, like a nuclear emergency or something. And he said, well, yeah, something like that. But what we're starting to do is kind of, now this is pure speculation. We know that my grandfather worked underground. We know that he maintained hangar systems. We know that he kind of worked with the logistics of moving projects, in different buildings and things. But the speculation is we're starting to match up times when Grandpa was gone to actual alleged UFO crashes where debris and things were taken to Wright-Patterson. So I would love it to be true. I'm not quite sure, but he maintained his oath. He died of cancer quite a while back, and on his deathbed, though, he told my father that we're not alone.
Well, one thing, in my personal, from my personal perspective, is I think that they're right in that there are many people performing rituals in which they have no business performing. That is true. I am seeing this far too often, and it seems like every paranormal group has a demonologist now, and it's almost as if they read a book and now they're demonologists. And one thing in the paranormal clergy is we created our own definition of demonology. And it's very important to understand that demonology is a calling. Demonology has nothing to do with paranormal. We've said this. I have said this from day one when I've stepped foot in the field a long time ago. Demonology is not paranormal. Demonology is theological.
When I'm talking to someone who is dead, what's going on is I'm basically trying to process all of the information that they're communicating to me so that I can get it out, so I can verbalize it. And, I really need to focus on the important things like, name, age, their appearance, what happened. So I try to get as much detail as I possibly can. At the same time, my body physically is being affected because as a physical medium, you can take on the persona of that dead individual. So I'm kind of trying to keep up a boundary so that they don't actually jump inside my body to communicate, but rather I'm trying to keep them at arm's length. And also it's rather, it can be painful at times. Like there's just a lot of energy that I'm receiving, and it kind of feels like electricity running through my body. So sometimes I have to kind of shake that off.
You can, let's say you cleanse the house and you close those doors. Who's to say the Moors are even there anymore? They could be gone. It could just be something completely different. You could do everything to close that door and there's nothing there, but the moment somebody walks in and says, can you give me a sign of your presence? Is anyone here? It's opened right back up. I think it's just... One of my friends, Roland Sines, said it best. He goes, that place is just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse till it just, like, sinks into the ground, poltergeist style,
It is buried, but it's not in a situation where someone could just stumble upon it and get it. It really is.
Okay.
It's really not possible. So there are protections within it, but it is basically buried and forgotten. But at the same time, I've done it in such a way that I don't have to watch it. I don't have to worry about it. That is inaccessible.
The other chapter I did a lot on in the book is the one about the debunkers, the cynics, the critics, etc. Because I come out swinging. I was in high school debating, and I learned you better have facts in hand before putting mouth in gear, and you better know both sides of the story. And what you won't hear from the debunkers is the other side of the story. Don't bother me with the facts. My mind's made up is their rule number one. Rule number two is if you can't attack the data, attack the people. It's easy. And rule number three, what the public doesn't know, I'm not going to tell you what the public doesn't know yet. Why should I bother you with facts? And four, of course, is do your research by proclamation. Investigation is too much trouble. And that's what they do. They proclaim. That isn't science.